The soda can hit the pavement with a dull thud, splashing sticky liquid across the tomb guard's polished boots. The crowded Arlington froze, their gasps cutting through the summer heat. Chloe Jennings, a 13-year-old in designer sneakers, grinned, her phone already recording for the perfect viral clip. She expected laughs, maybe even a flinch from the stone-faced soldier. But Jackson Caldwell, the tomb guard, didn't move. His eyes hidden behind sunglasses, burned with a fury no one saw coming. In that moment, a single act of disrespect was about to spark a firestorm that would change a girl, a family, and a nation's understanding of honor. What Chloe didn't know, what no one in that crowd could have guessed, was that the man she mocked carried the weight of a fallen brother, and the tomb he guarded held secrets that would soon unravel everything. Before we dive into this story, where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe that values like honor, courage, and sacrifice still matter, join us in keeping their legacy alive. It was Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery. The sun blazed down on a sea of visitors gathered around the tomb of the unknown soldier. The air was thick with heat and reverence, the kind of quiet that settles over a crowd when something sacred is about to happen. Families, veterans, and tourists stood shoulder to shoulder, their eyes fixed on the lone sentinel, pacing with mechanical precision. His navy blue uniform was crisp, his kepi hat sat low, and his sunglasses hid any hint of emotion. Every step, every turn, every click of his heels echoed with purpose. This was Jackson Caldwell, a 28-year-old tomb guard, a member of the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, and a man who carried the weight of honor on his shoulders. Among the crowd was the Jennings family from California. Walter Jennings, a tech CEO, was dressed in a tailored suit, his eyes glued to his phone as he fired off emails. His wife, Emily, found herself with a cemetery map, her designer sunglasses perched on her nose. Between them stood their 13-year-old daughter, Chloe, her blonde hair gelled to perfection, her outfit screaming money, limited edition sneakers, a custom t-shirt, and a shiny new phone dangling from her hand. Chloe wasn't here for the ceremony. She was here because her parents thought a trip to DC would look good on their social media. But to Chloe, this was just another boring stop on a vacation she didn't want. "This is so lame," Chloe muttered loud enough for nearby tourists to glance over. "Why are we standing here watching some guy walk back and forth? It's like 100 degrees out here." Emily sighed, barely looking up. "Chloe, honey, just try to enjoy it. This is important." "Important?" Chloe scoffed, scrolling through her phone. "It's just some old tomb. I bet this guy's just a wannabe soldier playing dress-up." Walter didn't even look up from his screen. "Let her complain, Emily. She'll get over it." The crowd hushed as Jackson completed his 21 steps, turned, and faced the tomb. His movements were flawless, a living tribute to the unknown soldiers who gave everything. Jackson had earned this pose through years of grueling training driven by the memory of his older brother, Marcus, who never came home from Iraq. Every step he took was for Marcus, for the fallen, for the country. But Chloe didn't see that. All she saw was a chance to go viral. "I'm going to get a sick video of this guy," Chloe said, raising her phone. "But I can make him flinch." She started recording, narrating loudly. "Yo, check out this robot soldier. Bet he's sweating buckets under that hat." A few tourists shot Chloe dirty looks, but she didn't care. She was used to getting attention, used to her parents smoothing over any trouble she caused. Back home, teachers let her slide, and her friends worshipped her family's wealth. To Chloe, the world was her playground, and rules didn't apply. As Jackson turned for another pass, Chloe's boredom turned to mischief. She spotted a half-empty soda can in her hand, a leftover from lunch. A grin spread across her face. "Yo, this is going to be epic," she whispered to herself. She stepped closer to the rope barrier, ignoring the signs that read, "Stay back." The crowd murmured, sensing trouble, but Walter and Emily were too distracted to notice. With a quick flick of her wrist, Chloe tossed the soda can. It hit the ground near Jackson's feet, splashing sticky liquid onto his polished boots. The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath that broke the silence. Jackson didn't flinch. His face remained stone, his steps unbroken, but his jaw tightened ever so slightly. Years of combat, years of discipline held him steady. He'd faced worse than a spoiled kid. Enemy fire, roadside bombs, the loss of his brother. But this was a different kind of insult. Chloe laughed louder now, egged on by the crowd's reaction. Yo, he didn't even blink. This guy's a total statue. She raised her phone again, zooming in on Jackson's boots. Check out the mess I made. This is going viral. An elderly man in the crowd, wearing a Vietnam veteran cap, leaned toward his wife. That kid's got no respect, he muttered. Someone needs to teach her a lesson. Chloe, oblivious, kept going. She stepped right up to the rope, leaning over it. Hey, soldier boy, you going to clean that up, or what? Bet you can't even talk. She turned to the crowd, expecting laughs, but all she got were glares. A mother pulled her kids closer, shielding them from the scene. A group of teenagers whispered, shaking their heads. Walter finally looked up from his phone. Chloe, what are you doing? Get back here. Relax, Dad, Chloe said, waving him off. I'm just having fun. These guys are paid to stand there, right? They work for us. The words hung in the air, heavy and wrong. Jackson's eyes, hidden behind his sunglasses, locked onto Chloe for a split second. He'd heard worse insults in war zones, but this girl's arrogance cut deep. The tomb of the unknown soldier wasn't just a monument. It was a shrine to sacrifice, to men and women who gave their lives without ever knowing fame or fortune. And here was this girl treating it like a TikTok backdrop. Chloe, undeterred, pulled out her phone again. Time for the money shot, she said, stepping over the rope barrier. The crowd erupted in murmurs, phones coming out to record. Chloe strutted toward Jackson, holding her phone high for a selfie. Yo, me and the statue guy? This is going to get 1 million likes. That was the line. Jackson's training screamed at him to stay still, to ignore the provocation, but something snapped. This wasn't just about him. It was about Marcus, about every soldier who never came home. In one fluid motion, faster than anyone expected, Jackson stepped forward, snatched the phone from Chloe's hand, and dropped it onto the pavement. The crack of the screen echoed like a gunshot. The crowd froze. Chloe's jaw dropped, her eyes wide with shock. You broke my phone, she screamed. That's a $2,000 phone. You're going to pay for that. Jackson returned to his post, his face unreadable, his posture perfect, but the air had changed. The crowd buzzed with whispers, some cheering quietly, others stunned. Security guards, led by Inspector Mia Thompson, pushed through the crowd. Mia, a no-nonsense officer with 15 years at Arlington, spoke into her radio. We've got a situation at the tomb. Girl crossed the line, and the sentinel responded. Walter stormed forward, his face reddened with anger. This is outrageous. That soldier assaulted my daughter. I'm calling my lawyer. Do you know who I am? Mia raised a hand, her voice calm but firm. Sir, your daughter threw a soda can at a tomb guard and crossed a restricted barrier. That's assault and trespassing on federal property. You're lucky the sentinel didn't do more. She's a kid. Emily shrieked, clutching her purse. You can't treat her like a criminal. Ma'am, Mia said, age doesn't excuse disrespecting the tomb. This is a sacred place, and your daughter just defiled it. Chloe, still staring at her shattered phone, looked around. For the first time, she noticed the crowd's faces. Anger, disgust, disappointment. A group of veterans stood nearby, their arms crossed, their eyes hard. One of them, a woman in her 60s with a Marine Corps pin, shook her head. I buried friends here, she said loud enough for Chloe to hear. You should be ashamed. The hashtag Arlington Kid was already trending. Clips of Chloe's stunt and Jackson's response were spreading across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. News vans were en route, and the story was hitting national headlines, entitled Teen Disrespects Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Mia turned to her team. Escort the family to the security office. We need to sort this out. Walter protested, but the guards were firm. They led the Jennings family away as the crowd parted. Some snapping photos, others muttering about spoiled rich kids. Jackson resumed his march, his boots still stained with soda, but his focus unbreakable. Inside, though, he felt a storm. He'd broken protocol, something a tomb guard rarely did, but he didn't regret it. Not yet. In the security office, a small air-conditioned room lined with photos of Arlington's history, the Jennings family sat across from Mia and Colonel Sarah Hayes, the commanding officer of Jackson's unit. Sarah, a 50-year-old veteran with silver hair and a steely gaze, didn't mince words. Mr. Jennings, your daughter committed assault on a federal officer and disrespected a national monument, she said. This isn't a game. The tomb represents every soldier who gave their life for this country. Your daughter treated it like a circus. Walter leaned forward, his businessman instincts kicking in. Look, Colonel, I'm sure we can work this out. I'll write a check to the cemetery, cover any damages. Let's keep this quiet. Sarah's eyes narrowed. This isn't about money, Mr. Jennings. It's about respect or the complete lack of it. Your daughter needs to learn that actions have consequences, no matter how much money you have. Emily clutched her husband's arm. She's only 13. She didn't mean any harm. She's just a kid. A kid who thinks she's above the rules, Mia said. And judging by your reactions, I can see where she gets it. Chloe slumped in her chair, her usual swagger gone. The weight of the situation was starting to hit. Her phone, her lifeline, was in pieces. The world was watching, and they weren't on her side. For the first time, she felt small. Sarah stood. I'm calling in a specialist to assess your daughter. This isn't just about punishment. It's about making sure she understands what she's done. Until then, you're not leaving Arlington. An hour later, Dr. Olivia Matthews arrived. A 38-year-old psychologist who specialized in troubled teens. Olivia had seen kids like Chloe before. Spoiled, entitled, craving attention, but never taught responsibility. She sat down with Chloe in a private room, her voice calm but direct. Chloe, I need you to tell me why you did what you did, she said, her pen poised over a notepad. Chloe shrugged, avoiding her eyes. I was bored. That guy was just standing there like a robot. I thought it'd be funny. Funny. Olivia raised an eyebrow. You threw a soda can at a soldier guarding the tomb of the unknown soldier. Do you know what that tomb represents? Chloe shrugged again. Some dead soldiers, I guess. Olivia leaned forward. Those dead soldiers gave their lives for this country. They died so you could have the freedom to stand here and act like a fool. That guard, Jackson, is honoring them. And you disrespected that. Chloe shifted uncomfortably. It was just a soda can. It's not like I hurt him. It's not about physical harm, Chloe. It's about respect. You treated a sacred place like your personal playground. How do you think that guard felt? I don't know. Chloe mumbled. He didn't even react. That's because he's trained to stay professional, even when people like you try to provoke him. But trust me, he felt it. And so did every veteran in that crowd. Chloe looked down, her fingers twitching. She didn't have an answer. For the first time, she was starting to see the guard as a person, not just a prop. Outside, the media frenzy was growing. CNN and Fox News had picked up the story, and the hashtag Arlington Kid was trending worldwide. Commentators debated parenting, privilege, and patriotism. A viral tweet from a veteran read, "This kid needs to learn what sacrifice means." The tomb isn't a joke. Walter's phone buzzed with calls from his PR team, warning that his company's stock was taking a hit. Emily's social media was flooded with hate comments, forcing her to go private. Back in the room, Olivia made her recommendation. Chloe needs a wake-up call, she told Sarah and the Jennings family. I'm proposing a 4-week community service program here at Arlington. She'll work with the grounds crew, meet veterans, and learn about the tomb's significance. If she doesn't cooperate, we'll escalate to juvenile authorities. Walter blanched. You can't be serious. She's a kid, not a criminal. Sarah responded firmly. She committed assault on federal property, Mr. Jennings. Be grateful we're offering an alternative to legal charges. This is about teaching her, not punishing her. Emily's eyes filled with tears. But our vacation, we're supposed to fly to Paris next week. Olivia's voice was blunt. Your vacation is over. Your daughter's education starts now. Chloe was silent, her mind racing. Community service. Cleaning a cemetery. This was a nightmare. But the look in Olivia's eyes told her she wasn't getting out of this. Over the next 4 weeks, Chloe's world changed. She woke up at dawn each day, trading her designer clothes for jeans and a work shirt. She swept pathways, pulled weeds, and polished headstones under the Virginia sun. The first week, she complained constantly, but the grounds crew didn't coddle her. They were veterans, men and women who'd served in wars Chloe had only read about. They didn't care about her family's money. One afternoon, Olivia took Chloe to meet Clara Thompson, a 90-year-old World War II nurse who had tended to wounded soldiers at Normandy. Clara's hands trembled as she spoke, but her voice was strong. I held boys younger than you as they died, she said. They didn't know if we'd win the war, but they fought anyway. That's what the tomb is for. Those who gave everything. Chloe listened. Her usual sarcasm was gone. Clara's stories weren't like the movies she watched or the games she played. They were real, raw, and heavy. For the first time, Chloe felt something like shame. During the third week, Chloe attended a Memorial Day wreath-laying ceremony. She stood in the crowd, watching Jackson march again. The guard's precision, the silence of the crowd, the weight of the moment. Everything hit Chloe differently now. She saw the pride in Jackson's steps, the respect in the veteran's salutes. She realized the tomb wasn't just a monument. It was a promise to never forget. On the final day of her program, Olivia arranged a meeting between Chloe and Jackson. They sat in a quiet office overlooking the cemetery with Colonel Sarah Hayes and Olivia present. Jackson was in civilian clothes, but his military bearing was unmistakable. Chloe's stomach churned as she faced the man she disrespected. "Jackson," she said, her voice steady but soft. "I'm sorry. I was a jerk. I didn't get what this place means. I treated you like a prop, and that was wrong." Jackson studied her, his expression unreadable. "Why'd you do it, kid?" Chloe hesitated. "I thought it'd make me look cool online. I didn't think about you as a person. I didn't think about the soldiers you're honoring. I've been talking to veterans, learning about what they went through. My grandpa was a Marine. He'd be ashamed of me." Jackson nodded slowly. "My brother was a soldier too. Marcus, he died in Iraq when I was your age. I guard the tomb for him, for all the ones who didn't come home. When you threw that soda, you weren't just disrespecting me. You were disrespecting them." Chloe's eyes stung. "I get that now. I can't undo it, but I want to make it right." Jackson leaned forward. "You're starting to. Admitting you were wrong takes guts. Keep listening. Keep learning. That's how you honor the fallen." Chloe nodded, her throat tight. "I will. I promise." Jackson extended his hand. Chloe shook it, the grip firm and real. For the first time, Chloe felt like she was being seen, not as a rich kid, but as someone capable of change. The story didn't end there. Chloe's journey became national news, a redemption arc that replaced the hashtag Arlington Kid with hashtag Guard Lesson. She started a blog sharing what she'd learned about sacrifice and respect, hoping to reach other kids like her. Walter and Emily, shaken by the experience, enrolled in parenting classes, determined to raise Chloe differently. Jackson continued his duty, his boots polished, his steps precise, a silent guardian of the fallen. The cracked phone was never replaced, but what Chloe gained, humility, respect, a sense of something bigger than herself, was worth more than any gadget. The tomb of the unknown soldier stood as it always had, a reminder that some things are sacred and some lessons change you forever. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, filled with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice. Click on the video.